For more than 700 years, England ran part of its financial system with pieces of wood. No gold, no paper money, no computers, just a stick, a knife, and the king's promise. But when the government finally destroyed those sticks, it accidentally burned down Parliament. This is the forgotten story of England's tally sticks and the strange truth they reveal about how money really works. The system began during the Middle Ages, when most people could not read and written records were easy to alter. The king still needed taxes, merchants still needed proof of payment, and the government needed a record that could not be forged. So the English Exchequer created an ingenious solution. A wooden stick was marked with notches representing an amount of money. The size and position of each notch mattered. A large cut might represent pounds. Smaller cuts represented shillings or pence. Then came the clever part. The stick was split lengthwise into two matching pieces. One half, called the stock, was given to the person making the payment. The other half, called the foil, remained with the government. Because the wood grain and notches matched perfectly, the two halves could later be fitted together. If someone tried to add another notch, alter the amount, or create a counterfeit, the pieces would no longer match. It was a medieval security system hidden inside a piece of wood. But tally sticks became more than receipts. Suppose the king needed money immediately to fight a war, build a castle, or pay his officials. He could give someone a tally, promising that the holder could use it later to pay taxes. That promise had value, and because the government accepted the stick for a future debt, other people began accepting it too. A merchant could receive a tally, then transfer it to someone else's payment. That person could pass it to another. The piece of wood was not valuable because it was rare. It was not valuable because it was beautiful. It was valuable because the government stood behind the promise carved into it. That is where this medieval story becomes surprisingly modern. Most people imagine money as something valuable by itself. Gold, silver, coins. But money often works because people agree to trust the system behind it. A dollar bill is mostly paper. The number inside your banking app is not a physical object at all. It is a record, a claim, a promise that the system will recognize what you own. England's tally sticks followed the same principle centuries before digital banking. The wood was simply the technology carrying the agreement. And the system lasted because it solved three enormous problems. It recorded debt, it made fraud difficult, and it allowed value to move from one person to another. But there was another reason the government loved tally sticks. They allowed the crown to spend money before future taxes were collected. In other words, the government could turn tomorrow's tax revenue into purchasing power today. That may sound primitive. It is not. Modern governments issue bonds based partly on their ability to collect revenue in the future. Banks create loans that become spendable deposits. Credit cards let people use tomorrow's income today. The technology changed. The basic idea survived. Money is not only what already exists. Money can also be a trusted claim on what will exist later. But every system built on promises carries a danger. The promise must remain believable. If people stop trusting the king, the bank, or the government behind the record, the object representing that promise can quickly become worthless. The wood was never the real money. Trust was. After centuries of use, tally sticks became obsolete. The Exchequer stopped using the system in 1826, but thousands of old sticks remained stored around the Palace of Westminster. Officials needed to dispose of them. They could have given them away as firewood. They could have burned them safely outdoors. Instead, in October 1834, workers began feeding 2 cartloads of old tally sticks into furnaces beneath the House of Lords. The fires burned too fiercely. Heat spread beneath the floors. Wooden paneling caught fire. By evening, flames were tearing through the Palace of Westminster. Crowds gathered beside the River Thames as one of Britain's most important buildings burned. Much of the old Parliament was destroyed. The wooden records that had helped finance England for centuries ended their story by helping burn down the center of English government. But the greatest lesson is not about the fire. It is about the sticks. For 700 years, people accepted pieces of wood because those pieces represented something everyone understood. A debt would be honored, a tax would be accepted, a promise would be kept. That is how money really works. The object can be gold, paper, wood, or numbers glowing on a screen. The form is almost irrelevant. Money works when people trust the promise behind it. And when that trust disappears, even the most sophisticated financial system can become nothing more than worthless numbers, or wood waiting to burn. So the next time someone says money must have value because you can hold it, remember England's tally sticks. The wood was ordinary. The belief behind it built an empire. Subscribe to Outlaw Wisdom for the financial history they left out of the classroom. They never taught you this. We ride until they do.